Hi everybody, today we're going to be dealing with Ontkennende Vorm, or die Negatief, which you might know a little bit better. We're going to basically be dealing with negatives in Afrikaans. And we're going to start with the basic rules. This is what I like to call the pirate sentence. It's something really simple like jy loop. It doesn't have an object, so when you turn it to a negative, it only gets one nie. Jy loop nie. I'm calling it a pirate sentence because it only has one knee. Like a normal human has two knees, because a pirate has a peg leg, it only has one knee. So don't forget, when there's no object, a sentence only gets one knee. Okay, so next we're going to look at something also quite simple, like Jason kry 'n koeldrank. Okay, and you can see that in this sentence it has an object, so we know that it's not a pirate sentence. So what we're going to look at is an answer that has two knees, like a normal human. Okay, so Jason kry nie, so the nie comes after the first verb, and then 'n koeldrank nie, and the second nie. Sorry, that jumped a little bit further than I thought it would. Jason kry nie 'n koeldrank nie. So like a normal human being, it has two knees. Okay, and the first knee goes after the first verb, and the second knee goes to the very end of the sentence after everything. Okay, so now we'll try a question, which has a different set of rules. Okay, so here we can see it's a question because it's got a question mark and it starts with a verb. So what do, right? We're going to start with nya as an answer to the question. Now nya kind of almost stands as a sentence by itself. It doesn't count as a nie, okay? It's a totally separate thing. It's a nya, okay? And it almost stands like a separate sentence. So for the rest of the sentence, we carry on like we normally would with stompie, okay? So then it's hy het nie, because remember the nie goes after the first verb, and then hy het nie die deur toegemaak nie. Okay, and again the nie goes to the end of the sentence, and here we have two nies, one after the first verb and one after the second verb. So we can see that although it's a question, it is a two nie question. It's not a pirate sentence. It's a normal sentence. Okay. Alright, so what are the basic rules that we've just gone over? Okay, well the first one is, if it's a pirate sentence, so it only has one object, so it has no object, then it only gets one knee. Like a pirate, it has a peg leg and it only has one knee. Okay, so then we can move to the next one, which is a normal sentence, which does have an object, so it gets two knees, like a normal sentence, like a normal person has two knees, the normal sentence has two knees. Alright, and then the third rule is a question, which begins with nya, and then it either follows rule 1 and is a pirate sentence, or it follows rule 2 and is a normal sentence. Let's try some basic examples. Die vrou skree. The lady screams. Sy het 'n muis gesien. She's seen a mouse. Sal die kat die muis vang? Will the cat catch the mouse? Okay. To help you out, I'm going to show you where the subjects and the verbs are. So you can see in sentence 1, there's the subject and there's the verb. Sentence 2, subject, verb, object, verb 2. And then in number 3, you can see that it's a question because it starts with verb 1 and ends with a question mark. So don't forget to start with a nya. Okay, this is the point where I would suggest that you pause the video and you attempt these questions on a separate piece of paper, and then in a second we'll have a look at the answers. So go ahead and pause right now. Alright, here are the answers. Did you pick up that question 1 was a pirate sentence? You should have gotten die vrou skree nie. The second sentence was a normal sentence, so it gets two knees. Sy het nie 'n muis gesien nie. Okay, then question 3, did you pick up that although it was a question and you needed to start with near, that it was also a normal sentence, so it got 2 knees. Nee, die kat sal nie die muis vang nie. Go ahead and practice those basic rules, but for now I'm going to move on to the special rules. Okay, so the very first special rule, if the verb 1 has a pronoun or a proper noun directly after it, the nie goes after the pronoun or the proper noun. Okay, so here's a really simple example. We've got Jane clapped Cindy. Jane hit Cindy. That's not very nice of Jane. So we're going to make her not do it. We're going to put it in the negative. Okay, Jane clapped Cindy nie. Now can you see that Cindy is a proper noun and it comes directly after the verb 1. So now we're going to say that because there's a proper noun there, we're going to put the nie after the proper noun. Not after verb 1, after the proper noun. Okay, here's another really simple one. Ek roep hom, I call him. Okay, you can see again there's a pronoun directly after the verb, so we're going to put the nie directly after the pronoun instead of after verb 1. Oh, excuse me. So now it's going to be ek roep hom nie, I don't call him. I wanted to show you a little bit more of a complicated example. Ek het hom vinnig gevang. I caught him quickly. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to start with the normal Stompie rules, okay? So it's just the subject, then the verb 1. Then remember this has a pronoun, so we only put the nie after the pronoun, okay? So that's subject, verb 1, object. Then we're going to put the nie in, and then we're going to move on to the manner, vinnig, and then verb 2, gevang, and then finally the last nie at the end of the sentence, because we can see that this is a longer sentence and it's not a pirate sentence anymore. Okay, so that's just quite simple then. And there's everything as it should be in the right order with all the nies in the right place. Okay, so that brings us to our next special rule, which is to do with words that change. Okay, in the negative, all of these words change to the following, okay? And when they change, the first word that they change to counts as a nie. So there's still 2 nies in the sentence, okay? So for example, if you look at the bottom of the page on the left, al ergens changes to nog nêrens. And then at the end of the sentence goes your nie. Now nog nêrens counts as a nie. So when you see a sentence like this, that's going to count as one of your nies in a normal sentence. So you're still going to have 2 nies. You're not going to be trying to run a 3-legged race with 3 nies. You're still going to only have 2. Okay? So exactly where the word is, it changes to whatever it needs to change to, and then your second nie still goes all the way to the end of the sentence. Here's a nice simple example of that. Iemand sal die muis sien. Someone will see the mouse. Niemand sal die muis sien nie. Okay, so you can just see that iemand changes to niemand. Everything is still in exactly the same order. Okay, still in the order of Stompie. And then the nie just goes to the end of the sentence. So as you can see, because niemand counts as a nie, you still have 2 nies, and this is still a normal sentence. Okay. Okay, here's another one. Kate doen altyd haar huiswerk. Haar huiswerk. Kate always does her homework. So altyd is the special word that's going to change, okay? And then we're going to have Kate doen nooit haar huiswerk nie, okay? Now remember, nooit is going to count as a nie. So we have 2 nies, and this is a normal sentence. Everything's still in the right order, and there's still a nie all the way at the end of the sentence. But what happens if a sentence has 2 of these words? Alright? If a sentence has 2 words that change, then we only change the first one. Otherwise, we have too many nies in the sentence. Okay? Okay, now remember, we don't like running 3-legged races. We don't want 3 nies. Alright? So, was iemand ooit Mars toe? Has anyone ever been to Mars? Alright, we can see that iemand and ooit are 2 words that should be changing. Now this is a question, so we're going to apply the question rule as well. Okay, so we're going to start with near, which remember doesn't count as a nie. Okay, then we're going to change iemand to niemand because that's the subject. It's going to be the first word that changes. Niemand was ooit. Okay, we're not going to change ooit. It's the second word that should change, but because there's two of them, we don't change the second one. Nee, niemand was ooit mars toe nie. So we still have our nie at the end of the sentence. We don't have a double negative or three knees, so we're good to go. Oh, I've just had a bit of a mistake there. Hope this still comes out okay. Alright? So, commands. We know a sentence is a command if it begins with the verb one and it ends with an exclamation mark. Okay? If we get a command, we're going to move the verb one to verb two, and then muni is going to take possession of verb one. Now we can do that because muni comes from moet nie, which, because moet is a verb, muni we can also say is a verb, okay? And we're still going to start the verb with the sentence with the verb, alright? That's because we still want it to be something instructive, so we're still going to start with that verb, alright? Then, if the sentence is a command but it also has asseblief in it, we still move verb 1 to verb 2. But instead of starting with muni, we're going to start with moet asseblief nie. And again, moet is going to count as that verb 1, and we're still going to start with it. Okay. So, how do we do this? We have a sentence, maak die deur toe. Okay, and there's our verb 1 and our object and all the rest of it. Alright. Then we're going to use muni, because there's no asseblief. So we're going to have muni die deur toe maak. Okay, remember to and mark combine when they're together. Muni die deur toe maak nie. Okay, and you can see, like I said, there's no exclamation mark. So then we have everything exactly as it should be. Alright, let's try another one. Doen asseblief jou huiswerk. Okay, again it's a command because it's got an exclamation mark. So please do your homework. Alright, changing it. We're going to move doen to verb 2 position, and we're going to make moet asseblief nie the start of the sentence. Okay, moet asseblief nie jou huiswerk doen nie. Please don't do your homework. I'm sure your teachers wouldn't be very impressed with that, so please don't listen to me. Sorry, there's our verbs and all the rest of it. So we can see that nie is still coming after the first verb, although we're going to put it after asseblief, and the second nie is still at the end of the sentence. Okay, there's another rule about words that contain voegwoorde. So it's basically two sentences that have been combined. But it's kind of a complicated rule, and I don't really think that you need to know it, right? If you do want to know it, I will do a video on it at a later stage, but it is a bit complicated, and I have to tell you that in my whole high school career, I had never seen it at all, ever. Okay? So we're just going to skip that. Alright, so what are these special rules? Alright, in summary, the first one is if a pronoun or a proper noun follows the verb, then we're going to put nie straight after the pronoun or proper noun instead of after the verb one. Okay? The second rule we discussed was words that change. Now you just need to learn those rules and remember, okay, don't forget that when the word changes, it counts as a nie. Alright. And you never change more than one of them. If there's two, just change the first one. Then the last thing we discussed was commands, right? And that's going to start with a muni, okay? Or it's going to start with a moet asseblief nie, depending on whether there is an asseblief or there isn't an asseblief in the sentence to begin with. Alright, okay, so how about we look at some examples in our spare time, okay? You're going to do that on your own because now you know all of the rules to do with the negatives, but you're going to keep checking back for more videos because you love the way I teach Afrikaans, right? Okay? Happy learning, kids.